Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So we are on to part 2 with drywalling. And as you can see, we've got this entire side of the house done. We got the cutout done for the dining room chandelier, and it is completely insulated with our little fiberglass hat. We just still need to figure out what Aaron's gonna do for the pendant lights that are gonna go up above here with the island that we still need to put in. And we have continued or started work on the drywall over here on this side. And we have to get everything done today with the drywall over here because the lift goes back tomorrow. So we've got to get the master bedroom ceiling done. We've got to get the master bath done, and then we have to get the closet done. And then we can return that lift and get the 15-footer so that we can go ahead and finish out the scissor trusses on the inside living room and on the inside center portion of the house. So I just made a run to the store. It is payday, I think, tomorrow, so I was able to spend a little bit of money. I got 27 more sheets of drywall, which probably is overkill. We'll just have to wait and see for what actually is gonna go up on the ceiling, but it probably won't go to waste because depending on money and what we can actually afford and what we can actually do. If you guys remember, we still made this entire flat wall over here in 2x6 so that we can stuff a whole bunch of insulation in there. We can go ahead and use 2 to 3 5/8 pieces of drywall, which will really cut down again on sound transmission because again, we are trying to get the master bedroom at least soundproof. So instead of using 1/2-inch drywall on the wall there, if we use 5/8 at least on one side and on the other, and maybe even one more piece, that really brings down and gets you almost to a soundproof wall with insulation in between there. But again, it just depends on money and how difficult it is to just keep throwing 5/8 up instead of 1/2-inch, especially 1/2-inch ultra lightweight drywall. But again, we'll just have to see and go by ear on how that's gonna work out. But again, those 27 sheets won't go to waste if that's overkill. And then I went ahead and picked up 15 sheets of 1/2-inch James Hardie fiber cement backer board, and that stuff is actually going to go on the entire fireplace. So down along the bottom there, on the bench seating, and all the way up around the walls. And that is because we're not going to be using gemstone on the fireplace. I think gemstone doesn't look that great when you're actually staring at it 24/7 right in your face. On the outside of the house, it's fine, especially from afar, or even when you get up close, it doesn't look bad. But I don't think it's a good option for a fireplace. Number one, because I don't think it looks great in person. Number two, Erin had a little piece of that stuff when she was cleaning up some lumber around the yard and throwing it in the fireplace. And she goes, I accidentally threw a little piece of gemstone in the fireplace, and oh my God, it lit like the 4th of July and just huge black toxic smoke. So not something I want to use around something that actually has fire. So we are going to have to talk to Alan, the engineer, and find out how much weight we can actually get away with on using a veneer stone. I'm not going to use real stuff, but even the veneer stone is still made of concrete. It looks like stone, it's painted like stone, but again, it's still concrete. Even though it's like ultra thin, that's still a lot of weight, 16 feet up there, transitioning all the way down to the ground. So I have to figure out how much weight we can actually support. Because if you go down here in the basement, the fireplace, as you can see, pretty much to this wall over here, over to here, is what's sticking out. Now, the back side of the fireplace, no problem, because we have a wall down here. That load can transfer all the way down to the concrete. Unfortunately, it's this floor joist right there and that floor joist right there that are pretty much going to be handling the load. We're going to have to calculate how far those I-joists actually are to support load. We definitely have 100% load on the vault wall over here holding those 2 I-joists up. So that's a great load support right there. But when we come over here, we've got the main beam, which is a very strong structural point because we've got our poles right here. They can hold up, I think, almost 28,000 pounds per pole. So Fireplace is gonna be nowhere around that. But again, these two joists right here are only held in by the brackets, and I don't know their actual load. So we just wanna make sure that we are not bowing the wall at all or bowing those eye joists. So we'll have to see what reinforcement we can do. Again, cross bracing, vertical bracing, everything that we can do for those two joists, at least for the 8 foot that we have on the Fireplace there. And we'll have to calculate all that weight there and actually see what it can hold up. So I'm gonna get cracking on just getting this ceiling knocked out here in the master bedroom. All the furring strips are on, finished those up last night. So probably just set you guys up on here on time lapse, get all this quickly knocked out, and then we'll worry about the bathroom and the master bedroom closet in a minute. Welcome back. I did not get the rest of the drywall on tape. It was getting extremely cold, and I don't know, it's just same old drywalling. But we went ahead and got all of the flat ceilings done. I was out here till 1 in the morning. Again, everything is done. If you guys are noticing a difference in color in drywall, we did get a different manufacturer of 5/8 fire rated ceiling drywall. And I actually like this stuff a lot better. It was from Home Depot, and man, it is way lighter than the other stuff. I think the other stuff was rated at 74 pounds. This manufacturer, easily 15 pounds lighter. It is way different and easier to install. But again, we got it all done. All the flat ceilings are done, minus what I'm looking here right now. I do have to go ahead and do the closet in there to completely fill that out, but that's a little closet. I can do that by hand. We got all of the electricity and our wires done, except for this one over here. I've got to have some longer screws that can go down through there now because the drywall plus the furring strips took a lot of inches away from the screws. So we'll go ahead and pick those up and get that installed. And then I think I said already, on Christmas, it's gonna be a very, very warm day. Hopefully before Aaron and I go anywhere, I can get up there real quick, and I need to spray foam everything because we're getting down into the 20s at night, 30s in the daytime, and I just didn't want to spray foam at those temperatures. It's 45 degrees in here right now, but we definitely want to get some spray foam and get all of our little hats on, the lights, and we also got our ceiling fan for this bathroom over here. We got to get that installed in this video. The ductwork still needs to show up, but we can get that wired up, get that installed, and then we'll just be one further step done, at least over here on this side of the house. And it is making a difference. I came out here last night with my thermal camera. When you look at the ceiling up on the vaults, it was like 23 degrees, which was ambient temperature, but the drywall actually on this ceiling over here was only 43 degrees, and I think it was about 40 degrees in the house. So that drywall was helping retain a little bit of the heat, and I was also noticing it again outside where we were developing frost on our shingles. There was less frost on the drywall sides than there was on these parts where we actually have just nothingness. So it is actually working. But one thing I did want to mention, I think I am going to have to rethink the insulation a little bit up here. We do actually, in fact, need to put down some sort of vapor retarder. It's called a Class 2 vapor retarder. I believe that is the same type of retardation as what is on a faced bat insulation. So just that paper bag type of stuff. That's not a vapor barrier, that's a vapor retarder. It helps slow it down. So that means that I would either have to go up in these attic spaces now and completely figure out some sort of Class 2 retarding plastic to put around hundreds of joists and trusses and lights and wires and everything else, which sounds like a complete nightmare. Or we can just go ahead and buy faced insulation, the thickness of a 2x4, which is what that bottom cord is. So that would be just an R13. We can pack that down underneath of, at least get the paper kind of underneath of the 2x4, since we've got the furring strip spacing a little bit. So that would help mitigate the moisture getting up in there. And then we can blow in. Or we can talk to, again, a spray foam installer and actually see what it would cost to actually just put down like 1 inch of closed cell. I know I said I wasn't gonna do that before and it was bad, but I don't know. I still have to learn, but I think it does depend where the spray foam actually is. For example, I know there's a lot of people having issues with flash and bat insulation in their walls, but that's because they're putting the closed cell on the outside, which is basically acting as their vapor barrier, and then they're putting the insulation. Well, when the hot, moist air leaks through the drywall, leaks around the bat insulation, it condensates on the inside face of the closed cell, and that's where people are having the problem. If you flash and bat, you need to essentially put up a vapor retarder on your studs before you put up your drywall. But again, that can have problems because now you're putting up 2 vapor barriers essentially, or vapor retarder into a barrier. So not a strong believer in flash and bat because it just, from what I just said, it can be done wrong. On the flip side, if you were to put up a insulation first and then spray foam, for example, on a ceiling, that would act as your vapor barrier retarder, then your insulation. I wouldn't think you would get that condensation then because you've got it sprayed to the bottom of your drywall, and then moisture up in the attic would just go ahead and dissipate out because we've got a vented ceiling, and I don't think the moisture from the outside would want to get down through the insulation that's blown in and condensate on the top layer of the closed cell spray foam, because again, there's no heat source or really any moisture up in the attic besides what's ambient. But again, something that I still have to look into. So we again are going to have to change our insulation thoughts and not just closed cell or open cell spray foam up in there and then blow in. I think we do have to talk about possibly doing the closed cell and or some sort of vapor retardation before we actually insulate. So I don't know. I will think about it. Let me know what you guys think. But after already talking to some people and figuring this out, again, we do have to change our thought process, and we can't do what I said before, which again was the open cell kind of in corners and around spots and then just blown in. We do have to put something down for protection. Oh, and as for the garage, I did go up there and check last night too and see if there was any issues up in there, because again, we only put down the metal ceiling. Then we put rock wool bats that were unfaced, and then we did blown in up there also. So the reason why I don't think we're having condensation issues or anything up in the garage is, number one, air is not gonna move through steel. And again, because the attic is uninsulated and it's an unconditioned space with good airflow and venting, I don't think moisture in the ambient air here can get down through the blown in, through the rock wool, and actually condensate on the backside of the steel. Again, everything is still dry, but what was mentioned to me also is the fact that I don't live in the garage. The humidity is very low in the garage. It's only reading like 47% as of last night. There's no showers, there's no water, there's no me breathing or anything. So that's probably why the condensation actually is pretty low in the garage, which shouldn't be a problem, the fact that we didn't put a vapor retarder up in the ceiling. But again, something that we definitely want to look into and take care of on actually the house. Okay, so here is our ceiling fan for the master bath. Yes, it is a big boy. It's got some pretty good weight to it. It's actually the largest ceiling fan that they sold. It said on the website to pick based on square footage of the room, and I believe we were at the square footage no matter what, which is like over 200 square feet for the bathroom. But even if I would have been, let's say, only 180 square feet, I still would have gone up to the 200, let's say, limit, and that's because we've got basically 11-foot ceilings. So anytime I see something where they're only talking about square footage and we're talking about moving volume or air, I always have to consider how tall these ceilings are. So again, you got almost 11 feet on these flat ones. We've got almost 16 feet up here in the vaulted ceiling. So I can't just ever just go off of like supply houses, like Mr. Cool's mini splits and stuff. I can't just go off of square footage. I do have to take into consideration you are heating and cooling or moving air in a little bit taller envelope than your typical like 8-foot tall like house. So I believe this guy moves either 200 or 300 CFMs. I'd have to look. It does have a freaking 6-inch exhaust hole. I was only anticipating a 4-inch. I did go ahead and buy the ductwork already. It is 6-inch, but the outside fitting where we're gonna drill through the OSB wall up there to go to the outside, the fitting that I have on the outside is only an acceptor for a 4-inch hole. So hopefully they make a 6-inch in the exact same manufacturer and color that I want. But if not, that's gonna look funny. I might have to paint it because I'm not gonna cut the hole now. I wanna get the siding up over there because I don't know if I'm gonna be drilling through the board and battens or if I'm gonna be drilling through the cedar shakes. And the cedar shakes are going to be a little bit harder to seal. The board and batten, I don't want to be cutting a 6-inch hole through a batten strip. I want to go right in the middle of one of the boards. So again, we can wait on cutting that hole until that's up. And then we can even go ahead and fully paint everything. Then we can drill the 6-inch hole, install the flapper valve, and then we can caulk and seal and repaint around that if need be. Probably this spring, I would imagine. But for right now, install looks pretty easy. We're gonna go ahead and use all of these screw holes right here to send up several screws. We'll build a box of 2x4s. The only thing is that guy right there, I believe is 16 inches in a box. So with our furring strips being 16 inches on center, we're gonna have to actually completely cut and remove a furring strip in between two of the joists. Not a problem because if there's 1 or 2 screws up into that furring strip, we'll remove those screws, cut the furring strip out, and then we'll put in a 2x roughly in the same spot, just a few inches over from where I cut that one out. And then we can go ahead and send the screws up, not through the drywall. We'll cut the drywall out big enough so that it is actually sitting on the bottom of the 2x's, but the 2x's are not going to be spaced up to the height of the furring strips. They're actually going to be sitting directly on the drywall. That way we're not gaining that inches that's spacing that thing up further into the attic. I don't want to be having too long of screws or anything or hurting those. So we'll go up here right now. We'll cut that furring strip out. Again, build a box of 2x's, and then we'll go ahead and just push that guy up in and screw it into the bottom. Okay, so we want it in line with the light a little bit on the outside of the shower, which this light is dead center here in the shower. So shower walls right there. We'll probably just put it a little bit on the outside, which it looks like it's going to be dead set right in the middle of a furring strip. So not a big deal. That we'll go ahead and cut that out. But we need to make a pilot hole first because I don't want to be cutting through where the bottom cords are for the trusses that are running that way. And no, by the way, this linen closet in the half bath is not going to be the attic access hatch. I did completely forget to put one in when I was doing the drywall up in here, but I thought this would be a much better way. Instead of having to worry about a ladder access hatch up in here to get up in the attic, that you have to worry about insulation and sealing and air leaking and stuff like that, What better way to put an attic access hatch than to put it actually in the garage? So that way we can use the ladder access in the garage to get up into the garage attic space. We can then just cut a hole right through the OSB gable end wall there. So basically like right there, but on the other side of the house, we'll just cut a hole in right there, and it can be as big, as tall as I want it to be. Obviously I can't go that wide because we'll be cutting into those 2x that are turned sideways, but that's at least 20 some inches wide. That's more than enough to walk on through there. And now this unconditioned space shares the unconditioned space in the garage, and it should be okay that it's just a little tiny doorway that I can get up into technically all 4 sections of the attic for both the house and the garage. And I don't have to worry about any air sealing or air leaking because the only spot is out in the garage that I don't really care that much about. Okay, so our pilot hole, somewhere around here. All right, so our pilot hole is right there. So we'll go ahead and cut out this furring strip, and that's actually perfect because that's right where I left my wires at. And we'll go ahead and remove, it looks like just 1 screw probably, and then I'll go ahead and build out the 2x4 box. And that'll do it. I'll put 2 more boards running this way, so I got something to screw into the back and the front, and then I'll have to put that 6-inch vent spot back on there because I had to remove it because it wouldn't fit up in there. But that's as tight as a drum, looks good. The only thing that sucks is when the cutout fell, it took a large piece of the drywall here, which that sucks for Fred, that he's gonna have to mud and tape that properly because you do want to leave this layer on here as much as you can. But we'll just have to have that tape and mud. But this little cardboard mask stays in for the time being. We don't actually put the grate on, so nothing gets sucked up in through there. But like I said, we'll put 2 more 2x running this way, and then I'll spray foam it a little bit and get it a little bit more sealed in there. But the grate should go on and cover up all of this, so hopefully that looks good because it's wider than it is. And I'll go up there and hook up the electrical, and we should be done. I won't be able to turn it on yet because we don't have a switch yet, and this box right here isn't powered up yet. Still need a fan switch and a light switch that's gonna go as sconces by the mirrors there. And that should be it. And this fan is so freaking quiet, even though it's so big. It's so quiet, they have to install an LED light to tell you that it's actually on and running. And yesterday we actually did try it in the RV. I've got a little pigtail that plugs into an outlet that we can just attach the load neutral in the ground to. And it let out a hell of a lot of air, and it was not that loud. So that is freaking awesome. So one more thing down, and a lot more to go. Okay, now I'm done. I did have to modify this. The 6-inch duct is way too big and close to a joist here that it couldn't run that way. So we had to turn this, which of course then put it in the way of that 2x4 running across there. So I had to cut that down and basically not really make a box, but more like a U shape, I guess you can call it. The only thing is we'll have to bring the ductwork out over here, give it a little bit of a 90-degree bend, and then again, we'll just punch out that gable wall right there. Hey everybody, welcome back for another day. We got lucky. It is actually Christmas Eve and it is extremely warm outside. It's almost 55 degrees and it's like 53 in here right now. So great opportunity that we can just go ahead and spray foam this entire side of the house. And then we'll see what else we can maybe get done today. But I think I am gonna wrap this video up here. So part number 2 of the drywall is done. We just need to now get more furring strips and finish out part number 3 above our head. And again, figure out how we're gonna air seal back on those tighter corners down along that edge when we get the first like sheets of drywall up. But it'll give you guys a video right before the holiday, before Aaron and I obviously are gonna be busy the next couple days, get a video out this week. And a lot of you guys do request sometimes that our videos stay more in like the 20 or 30 minute range. So I think we're about there right now. So let's just head up here real quick, knock all the spray foam out, and then again, we'll see what else we can do today, or we're just gonna wrap it up here and we'll see you guys next week. All right, that should do it. We got every crack that I can see filled, any little pinhole, again, just on this flat roof. I did just go ahead and quickly knock out the linen closet in the master bath here. Got that drywall up in there, put a couple furring strips down, and then sealed all the way around it. And I know someone's gonna say, Scott, that was overkill. If you're gonna be spraying closed cell down in here anyway, like an inch, that pretty much would have already taken care of all of this. And yes, you're 100% right, but again, I still don't know what insulation I'm gonna do up here. Maybe if I sprayed a couple more inches of open cell, that would act more as a vapor retarder, because I know open cell is definitely not a vapor barrier, but maybe again, a few inches when you're leaving the skin on the spray foam against the drywall and the skin up on here. The fact that you're leaving it, maybe that acts a little bit as a retarder instead of an actual barrier. So I just need to get more expert opinions and find out what actually I need to do up here. But either way, that looks like it's gonna be the case just because of money and everything. Putting up a vapor barrier and plastic down up in here, or a vapor retarder up in here, I think will just be an absolute nightmare. And there's no way that you'll ever get to get around every single one of these V shapes in here and all the penetrations and everything else we got. So I think it'll just be a nightmare. So I think I do remember a quote before with the spray foam guys who did the garage. They calculated 1 inch up here at about $2,800. That's quite expensive for just 1 inch. But on the flip side, think about the nightmare that I'm saving myself with trying to put something down. And even regular bat insulation with the foil face or the brown paper bag face on it. Even getting it up in here and trying to get it pushed down and to sit on everything is still gonna be a nightmare. And we're never gonna 100% air seal it. So if we're building an ICF house and we want no air leakage only on my direction with like a ERV or an HRV, and we put in a humidifier or dehumidifier, then I want it controlled by my saying, not because it's leaking up on its own. Again, you're building an ICF house, you might as well make it 100% airtight and allow the air to come in and out as you choose. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Next video, part number 3, we'll go ahead and figure out how the heck we're gonna do the furring strips and drywall on these vaulted ceilings, because even if I have a 15-inch lift, my ladder in an A-frame doesn't go up 16 feet. So we have to again talk about scaffolding and doing that, because I can't think of an idea to have a ladder that tall in an A-frame, and the scaffolding is definitely going to be more of a pain in the butt because it's harder to maneuver around once the lift is already up with the drywall. You're having to push and pull the scaffolding around, and we'll have to clear out this entire area to make it easy. It's just going to be not something that I'm looking forward to. But next video again will be part 3, furring strips, drywall, vaulted ceilings, and then probably drywall on these flat gable ends right here so we can completely enclose this in. And then maybe we'll even spend some time and start knocking out the fireplace with the backer board. And I still have to finish these out, obviously. We're not 100% framed in yet until those studs right there go up to the ceiling and make contact so we can fully box this in. But again, that'll be on another video. So if you guys, again, like the videos, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're not already. You can hit us up on NeckofTheWoods 2020 on Instagram if you need to personal message us. And until then, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.